The impact of this on people is really enormous. And I'll talk a minute about kind of the difference between burglary and robbery and what they did. But again, think about 20,000 employees. Think about all the folks who had money tied up in a pension account, folks who were going to retire and have had to stay at work, folks who have retired who are going back to work, lots of folks who aren't going on vacations, who aren't getting into colleges, or going to a second, third, or fourth choice college, or having to do a lot of work in addition to college to make ends meet. So this is widespread, serious, and deep. And I emphasize this because I don't think we can justify his sentence saying, you know, we have this guy Andrade who's in prison for 50 years for stealing videos, therefore Fastow deserves more. We have a hard time with that because I think 50 years is ridiculous and I'd like to see that scaled back. If we're going to make more than 10 years stick on Fastow, it has to be because he's deserved it because of the harm that he's done. And that's really kind of what I'm trying to hammer home here, is not just the punishment is good, but that in terms of making the punishment match the crime and the harm that was done, this is where Fastow really needs a lot more, to take responsibility for being an active ringleader, an active manager who created this financial meltdown. He created a lot of loss of trust in the whole financial system because of what he did. Not single-handedly, but again, we have to accept his role in this. So we have losses to people, we have losses to institutions, we have losses of faith in the financial system, and a whole host of other things. I wanted to take a break for a second and kind of put up a clip. This is a comedian talking about it, but I think she does a good job highlighting the same points in a different way. So I hope that we reinforce each other. This is Wanda Sykes. She's kind of talking about Enron, and particularly listen at the end as she talks about, you know, kind of avoiding the Arthur Anderson building to cut through the ghetto, and some of the differences between the mugging there and what some of the corporate criminals did. I hope this is all set up. Oops, I guess it's been sitting here too long. Is it?
Nobody likes to admit their mistakes, man. Nobody. Then we find all these Enron guys, all these CEOs robbing everybody blind, man. I tell you, you know, that stock market, boy. That's why I got out. I got out the market. I called my broker. I was like, hey, put all my money in weed. Price of weed never goes down. Blue chip right there. These CEOs, man, they is robbing people, boy. You know, yeah, right? I hope they get a lot of jail time. But what happens when they get in court? Either they plead the fifth or they go, I don't recall. And that's acceptable. They get away with that. Right? No, that shouldn't be acceptable. You know, you ask any woman in here, your man comes home and you be like, hey, you been cheating on me? And he goes, I don't recall. You know, and then confers with his buddy. One moment. No comment. You gonna whip his ass till he gets his memory back. These CEOs, man, they ruthless, boy. They affected like millions of lives. There are people out there thought they was gonna be able to retire in 4 years, now they gotta work 40 more years. You know, then you got people who were retired and they gotta get back into the workforce. You know, we all gonna feel it. We all gonna feel it. You're gonna be out there, rush hour traffic, some 80-year-old dude in the carpool lane just messing traffic up. But these CEOs, man, I mean, you that ruthless, you a scary dude, man. I tell you now, shoot, I walk past a little gangbanger, I don't even blink. But if I see a white dude with a Wall Street Journal, I haul ass. Shoot, before I walk past the Arthur Anderson building, I cut through the projects. Cutting through the projects, you might just lose what you have on you that day. I ain't never been mugged of my future.
Okay. Like I said, I think she makes the same point. She hopefully kind of reinforced it and put it in a way that might even be more memorable than the way I said it. But again, she highlights a couple of things there that are good to remember about this kind of discrepancy between what we allow from the corporate executives and other folks. She also does a nice job kind of hammering home the widespread implications. You know, this is lots of people in retirement who have gone back, people planning to retire, college funds, all sorts of other things have been affected. And in lots of ways, the fallout is continuing to shake down in terms of a financial situation and just kind of dealing with retirement for everybody. The other thing that she said, which I think is good, is reminding us that, you know, if you're kind of the victim of street crime, they get what you had on you that day. You know, they get your wallet, your credit card. Okay, that's not good. Somebody breaks into your house, they get the stuff that you had accumulated to that point, your TV, your VCR, the DVD player, whatever else. Some of these financial crimes have literally robbed people of their entire future. We have lots of folks who have been testifying before Congress on this. They worked not for Enron, but one of the companies Enron bought out and acquired, and then later ran into bankruptcy. So we have people with $700,000-800,000 in a retirement account that's now worthless because it was all transferred to Enron shares. 33 years working for an energy company in California, thinking that you are getting all set, find out that Enron has bought you, you now have Enron shares, and hey, at the moment, they're worthless. What do you do? How do you make up something like that? How do we start to quantify that in terms of harm done, and what is a deserved sentence for that? So I think that that's really important. In The Rich Get Richer and the Poor Get Prison, Ryman kind of talks with a defender of the present legal order about why more corporate crime shouldn't be harmful, or why more of it should be considered as crime. And he has the defender kind of suggesting, hey, well, direct crime, one-on-one crime is a lot worse than lots of corporate crime because you never confront the person, you're not terrorized. And Ryman says certainly in some ways, you know, kind of getting money taken from a bank account or some of the other corporate frauds don't involve the terror that happens when you meet someone on the street who demands by force your money, somebody who breaks the window and is actually in your house. But the other side of that the defender doesn't think about is the amount of money involved. Again, you're losing what you have on you that day in either case, not a life savings or your entire future. And in some ways, yes, you're not terrified like you're in danger, but also on the other side, there's kind of a loss of faith in the financial system that plays off against that. It's not the same, it's not necessarily better or worse. We can't just say, ooh, this crime had danger with it, this one doesn't, therefore it's less, without looking at this other feature that crops up about this loss of faith, in addition to a larger loss of money. So anyways, I guess overall, I'm not really impressed at Andy Fastow getting 10 years. I think that was really a sweetheart deal, given that he's kind of the ringleader for this organization, doing all that he did, and the harm that he's caused the American people. It's a step in the right direction, but if we're looking for real equity here, we need to do something else. I should say you might be hearing in the news now about Danny Sullivan and Bernie Ebbers. Sullivan is the chief financial officer, so he kind of occupied the same place as Fastow, but he was at WorldCom. And he was the one figuring out how it was that WorldCom could book lots and lots of money that it wasn't actually making, and collapse ultimately with the $11 billion in overstatements and become the next largest bankruptcy after Enron. So you hear that he's making a deal that might get him up to 25 years. He's cooperating, so it's going to get reduced. But he's in an even bigger scam than Fastow is, and we'll kind of see the prison sentence there.